Meanwhile, in Tupac news,
The shooting of Tupac Shakur once again underscores the violence that has surrounded this man since he shot the superstar.
Four people pulled up, opened fire. Shakur and Knight.
Tupac Shakur was shot several times in the chest.
Shakur was pronounced dead.
MAKAVELI in this Illuminati, all through your body. The blows like a 12-gauge shot. Feel me?
I'm the only person that lost when Pac moved on.
Can't believe this! Come on! All right, go on CPR.
I had Tupac in my arms as he was dying.
Rap artist Tupac Shakur has succumbed to bullet wounds.
Metro Lieutenant Chris Carroll was the first officer on the scene the night of the shooting. He says he tried to get Tupac to identify his shooter, but Tupac refused.
what were Tupac's last words to you?
He looked me straight in the eyes and he said, "F you."
Right before I die, I'll be cursing the law. Reincarnated bitch, even worse than before.
Only Gab can do it like this.
Before I'm leaving, the mask and the grieving. Who do you believe in? Who do you believe in?
Yo, YouTube, what up? It's your homie Gab. I'm in the building. And this is MAKAVELI Media. The Mystery of Vegas, y'all. Part 6. You know, whatever Suge Knight saw, or should I say, whatever Suge Knight knows, I guarantee you still haunts Suge to this day. I mean, that was a very traumatic experience, what happened to him in Vegas alongside his good buddy Tupac. For the man to get shot and killed right beside him has to play constantly in Suge's head. Nobody can tell me different. But Suge also knows all the strange dealings and activity that took place that night. You know, recently I saw in an interview when Suge was asked questions about what happened to him and Pac out in Vegas, and his opinion on who done it to Tupac. In the middle of the interview, Suge Knight threw up. Yes, he called Earl. Straight up. Still bothers the man, you know? And just a lot of things that don't make sense. You know, by Suge's own admission, him and Tupac had this conversation. Who knows what they talked about? Some people said they were riding exclusively in the BMW so they could talk business. Maybe about, you know, the monies that Suge possibly owed Tupac, or what direction he wanted to take Tupac in Death Row Records, or maybe Tupac getting his own joint venture for his label through Death Row. Some people say the conversation was hostile. Some people said they had having fun as usual. But needless to say, the only person that knows exactly what they talked about is Suge. And you know, to have this officer come out years later and say Tupac was in such bad shape he couldn't talk, and for Suge to say, wait a minute, you know, man, Tupac had a good conversation. Tupac was joking, you know, he was conscious. You know, what the officer says is a contradiction to what Suge said. That's weird, because there's no middle line. Either he was okay or he was gravely hurt. There's no middle line, because Officer Curl said that, you know, Tupac's last words was cussing at him and he never gained consciousness again, never spoke another word. Suge said they laughed and joked all the way on their way to the hospital. When they got inside the hospital, you know, Tupac asked Suge to take his jewelry, told him he loved him. They took Tupac in the back and he never saw him again. Very weird. I will say this. through the hospital's own admission, they said Tupac had to be put in a self-induced coma because he was trying to leave the hospital. He was antsy, he was jumping around, he was trying to get up out the bed. In order to properly work on Tupac, they had to sedate him, put him in a coma. That's a lot different than what Officer Chris Carroll described. He said Tupac lost consciousness on the way to the hospital, in his arms. It never spoke again. So if he was already unconscious, then why did you have to sedate him and put him in a coma? Somebody's story's not adding up. At all. You know, one of Tupac's biggest fears when he got shot the first time in New York is that he wouldn't make it out the hospital alive. Tupac was very smart and very woke and didn't want his life in seclusion in the hands of a stranger or someone that can be persuaded into harming him. Pac did not trust hospitals. He wanted nothing to do with them. He took his chances on Jasmine Guy's couch. That's what he did. But for some reason, he's in this hospital. He's trying to get away from these people, and they put him in a coma. Okay, we'll just leave that like that. But yeah, this police officer is painting Tupac to be already mortally wounded. And that may have not been the case, because I remember reading in a popular hip-hop magazine at the time, a lady heard Tupac being brought in to the hospital screaming at the top of his lungs, "I'm dying." So he's talking right there. Eric B said he heard Tupac talk. So what Officer Chris Carroll was saying really doesn't make sense to me. And I'll go a step further. Where is the video footage of the ambulance pulling up and them taking Tupac out the ambulance into the hospital? Because every hospital has a video camera. Somebody's seen that footage. I want to know, was Tupac of himself, or was he already out of it? It's important. It's important because you have an officer of the law who's blatantly lying if that's not the case. And once again, my question to you would be, why? Something else that's very strange to me that nobody can give me a definitive answer about. 1996, when Tupac got shot, all we had was the television and radio. These are facts. Unfortunately, what happened to Neighborhood Nip, y'all was able to go to social media, go to Twitter, go to Facebook, go to IG, and get all the information on the spot. Even right here on YouTube. Y'all was watching Nip's death like it was an infomercial. You saw the whole thing within the first hour. When Pac got shot, the first person told me about it was my pops. After that, caught some of it on MTV. Everything else was my local news. And right after it happened, I swear to you, I saw Kadafi with my own eyes on the news being interviewed at the crime scene. Yellow tape, outlaws standing behind him to the side. He was upset. Tupac's BMW still sitting on the side. And he asked him straight up, "Do you know who did this?" Qaddafi said that yes, I know who did this to my brother and I'm telling too. Real definitive, real authoritative. Like he don't care who ain't like it. Yeah, I'm telling. Loud and proud, just like that. That footage disappeared off the face of the earth. Now around 2007 was the last time I saw that on YouTube. Try to find it now. It has been taken down from every video platform there is. And why? Because it doesn't go with the narrative that the Las Vegas PD and the LAPD tries to paint when they said Qaddafi said he could identify the driver. That is not what he said. Clear as day on camera. He said nothing about a driver. He was talking about the killer, the shooter. Not no driver. They changed the man's words around and got rid of the tape. And oddly enough, maybe a month and a half later, Qaddafi's life was taken himself. Now, they say the two incidents ain't connected. And, you know, I can't say it is, but oddly enough, he never got a chance to, you know, to say what he knew. I know that much. And in the confession, they said he said the guy looked like a B word. But like I said, once again, it's not what he said on the video. Why did this video disappear like that? All this stuff is strange, man. I mean, he was the only one that said he would tell what happened. Gone. And the footage of him saying he would tell is gone. Some strange things, y'all. Some strange things.
I'm from NEW Jersey, with plenty murders occurs. No points of comments, we bring the drama to all you heard.